What is the most sinful thing you've done that you are sure will bar you from heaven forever? It involved two sisters who had a secret that left me speechless. Back when I worked as a tour guide for a bus company, we had a trip from Canada to Louisiana. The driver and I got along well, and our first stop was an overnight stay, picking up some passengers. At the hotel bar, we met two women from our group who introduced themselves as sisters. They were confident, charming, and easy to talk to. After some friendly conversation, we walked them to their rooms, exchanged polite goodnights, and called it a day. Or so I thought. Later that night, there was a knock on my door. It was the younger sister. She said she couldn't sleep and wanted to chat. One thing led to another, and before I knew it, we were sharing a level of intimacy I'd never experienced before. She took the lead in ways that left me speechless and very impressed. The next morning, the driver's knowing looks confirmed he'd had a similar evening with the other sister. The trip continued, and every night, like clockwork, the younger sister would visit me. She was very clear. This was just for fun, nothing serious. She even made me promise not to look her up after the trip. At the time, I wasn't complaining. It was an education I hadn't expected. 10 days before the trip ended, the four of us had dinner together. Something changed. The sisters started swapping conversations with the driver and me. That night, we switched partners. The other sister was just as captivating, though in a different way. By the end of the trip, we'd been reminded once again, this was a one-time thing, and we were never to contact them after. After that trip, life moved on. My personal life was rocky, and I decided to leave the job after one final weekend tour. On the last day, a passenger fell ill, and I accompanied him and his wife to the hospital while the driver took the group to mass. At the hospital, something strange happened. I noticed a nun approaching the bus, then quickly retreating inside. Later, while waiting, I saw a door slightly ajar and a hand gesturing for me to come in. Curious, I approached, and there she was, the older sister from the trip. She immediately started questioning how I'd found her and why I was there. It took me a moment to process, but the realization hit me like a ton of bricks. Both sisters, the ones who'd completely redefined my perspective on romance and connection, were nuns. I left in shock, barely able to explain the situation to the driver, who didn't believe me until we confirmed it later. Even now, when I see a nun, I can't help but think back to that trip and the irony of it all.